Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you for joining me here. It's a little bit later than I usually post this, but I felt that I needed a little extra rest today, so I gave myself that. I'm definitely feeling the end of Scorpio season. During Scorpio season, I'm not sure about you guys, but a lot of limiting beliefs and fears and just, all of those things that I thought maybe I had worked through already came up in different ways than they usually do. So I'm really ready for Sagittarius season to roll in, but I'm ready to also put all of these realizations to use as well. And the cards that we have for the tarot message for the week ahead this week really push us to do that. So I'll start by telling you the beacon card for our week ahead. The beacon card this week is Justice. Justice is the 11th card in the major arcana. And I'll start by describing the imagery on this card to you. And today I'm pulling from the Druidcraft Tarot deck by Stephanie and Philip Cargam. So here we've got a figure in a blue garment draping over her entirely, or they. And I think that's a deep purple cloak symbolizing intuition. The number 11 is a really intuitively charged number in numerology. And then if you look at the number 2's symbology as well, that's a really intuitive and being in touch with other people's feelings kind of number. And the the color purple represents that as well. So we see the scale of justice there. There's also the sword of air, communication, that represents the direction of the east on the medicine wheel. We also see an owl there. And when you think of the medicine of the owl can crane its head all the way around, right? So it is all seeing. The owl also is nocturnal, so it can see in the dark, reminding us that justice requires us to be open and not to hold our opinions too strongly, because there always are two sides of things, and we need to try our best to see both sides of the equation as well. And remember also that if we don't see those things just yet, there might also be someone else involved who is seeing other sides of things, and we have to listen to them. That's where the communication symbology from the sword comes in. The sword represents air, which reminds us that communication is important, and when we hold off on communicating, there's another edge of that sword and consequence that comes back to us, as well as when we communicate things that aren't necessarily true to our heart, there are repercussions. Or if we hear someone else saying something that they shouldn't be saying, or that we know isn't okay and we know to be hurtful to others, there is another edge of the sword when we decide not to say anything in return. When we decide to just let things go, there are eventually repercussions in our own life, and it might not be an immediate trickle effect right back to us, but slowly, when someone's mindset is depreciating because of the stigmas around certain aspects of themselves, or just literally the color of their skin, that really hurts a person's psyche, and then in turn they can't give as much of themselves to others because they don't believe that they're worth giving enough to themselves in order to have that energy. So realize that right now is not the time to ignore your gut feelings or ignore the voice in your head that tells you to do something or to say something or not to say something. Now is the time to listen to your intuition and feel into your internal waters. Feel into those feelings that you get when you're in an icky situation, when you're around people that do not have the best interest of others in mind. When you're talking to someone who's clearly not trying to see or listen to you or anyone else. We really, really need to be hyper aware of where we can be just in our own lives, because it will eventually affect us as a collective and as a whole. And no minor action is minor. Like, it really, really does have one small positive action has a really, really big positive effect over the collective eventually. And remember too that we have the medicine of the spider here. Sometimes it does take time for these new foundations to be laid, for these new expectations of society to emerge. The spider weaves its web in the nighttime, in the dark, first of all. And so that's difficult. Trying to see past all of the debris and the things that are there but don't necessarily need to be, can take time. And not all of us are going to see things right away as quickly. We need to be patient with each other as well. Bringing in the energy of Venus, the planet that rules the Justice card. We have to remember to be compassionate with ourselves, with others. Although anger and frustration is going to arise, we do have to remember that in order for a firm foundation and for real change to happen, we do need to be objective, and we do need to try to bring knowledge and valid points to the table so that the people we're speaking with can actually grasp it and understand it, and perhaps have a slight change of heart. So yeah, there's also the web that catches the things that it needs. So this might just be the foundation layer of justice that we're laying, which makes sense because this is just the beginning of the age of Aquarius. And the people that were incarnated at this time, we were sent here to help set this foundation of a more fluid and open and less restrictive society, where everyone can be themselves, and there is no binary, and people are held accountable for their actions. And right now we need to remember that our community and how we treat our community is also how we treat ourselves. So if you are someone who is taking action and doing things to protect yourself as well as everyone else, then you don't really have too much to worry about this week. It's more so the action that comes from, the consequences that come from believing that everyone else's health isn't your business, and you or the people that aren't acting in a place of justice believe that it'll be fine, everyone will be okay, and the people that we lose on this earth were meant to be gone, and that there are a lot of other things that we need to deal with. Well, yes, that's true. There's a lot of other things. There's suicide, depression, abuse, there's, overdose. There are a lot of things going on in this world that we do need to address. But all of these things at their core root, they can be helped if the people that those people are surrounded with act out of love. And so all we need to focus on right now is acting out of love in our own hearts and doing as much as we can for the people in our lives that we know would do the same for us. We need to find balance right now. And if there are certain places where we aren't in balance, we need to hold ourselves accountable as well. And that is actually where the intuitive card comes in. The Six of Pentacles is the card that I pulled here. And the Suit of Pentacles represents earth. It represents material wealth, attaining material achievement, and goal setting, and material wealth, to be honest. In this card, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this card quite yet. In the Classic Rider-Waite deck, I believe it looks a little bit different, but the idea stays the same. So in the imagery here, we see an elder handing coins to outstretched hands, and it looks like he is in a cave with some sort of covering, some berries, some greenery. And if the image below, or the colors below him are what I think they are, it looks like he is protected from the cold and what looks like a snowstorm. But it also looks like out there are coins as well. So there are a lot of different ways to interpret this card. Right now, I'm going to say that the message for the week for us is to look at, again, how we are giving, where we aren't giving, and maybe we should be, or maybe where we are taking too much. Is there, or have we been asking someone for help when we could have just gone and gotten it for ourselves, and maybe even in a more abundant manner? Or are we helping someone in a way that doesn't actually help them? The proverb of from the Bible of Jesus teaching a man to fish as opposed to giving a man a fish, and the fact that that will feed him for a lifetime, is the lesson that I see here, or at least what I'm getting from it today. Are we providing people with tools that they can then use themselves and empower themselves with? Or are we just putting a Band-Aid on the situation? And this reminds me of, honestly, all of the changes and shifts that I believe need to happen in our government, in our education system, in our police system, in our court system, in our judicial system, in our economy, in basically every structure that modern society stands on. We have to start asking ourselves questions if we can. Are we providing our clients or our friends or our family with tools that empower them and allow them to gain wisdom from their own selves? Or are we just handing them the answer? Or are we just doing the thing to shut them up? We have to have patience right now, and we have to understand that little acts of patience and kindness, or even saying no if you have to, are important. Now, if you look at this as the other interpretation or the other idea that I got from this card, it's possible that these coins are belonging to the elder here, and he is just saving them. I think right now it might be a good idea for us to take that hint and help people less in ways of monetary funds, unless you have the means to do that. If you do, absolutely go ahead and ask friends and family to do that as well. But there is a great balance between providing financial help, but also providing connection and community and your own wisdom and the things that have helped you move through difficult times as well. And there's also so much abundance and energy in just listening. Listening can be a really, really big help to someone as well, or asking them how they could use help instead of just handing them what you think they need. So right now, we really need to listen to each other. I think I'm in Alberta, in Canada at the moment, and I think that the government needs to start listening to the people that are working in the front lines and, put some restrictions on, because people are traveling and they want to get in their drinks and their food and their skiing while they can, because they know that eventually this is going to happen. But we need to start listening to each other now and asking how we can help. And this applies in so many other ways. You can also begin asking yourself how you can help yourself. That's something that I definitely need to remember to do. How can you nurture yourself and help yourself be in a safe place so that when you do encounter these situations that require action and discernment and saying things that need to be said for the sake of justice, you will have the energy to. And when you do have the chance to give back, it's important to do that, and not just in the way of monetary funds. It's really, really important for you to contribute energy, time, and teaching to others right now. So I hope that was helpful and insightful and maybe even struck a few chords with you. Thank you for watching today, and I will be posting a little bit of a reel on the first quarter moon, and I will be pulling an oracle card to go with that later today. So join me on my Instagram for that. Subscribe here if you're enjoying these videos and you want to be updated on the next upload next week. I will be doing a 2021 year ahead tarot spread as well. That'll be a longer video for sure. But if you are interested in seeing that when it comes out, subscribe below. And like the video, comment any synchronicities that you felt today, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks so much.